Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos. So Ole Gunnar Solsjaker has addressed our January transfer plans for the January transfer window, but he insists his priority is next summer. So I do believe from my own perception that we'll do the vast majority of our transfer business next summer, but I think we are looking to make at least one signing in January. But we do know that definitely further more investment is needed in the squad, because you can still see the deficiencies in the squad, because obviously during the course of the summer we didn't address all the problematic areas. But, I think in January, we're obviously not going to address all the problematic areas in that, I've said, Manchester United, need at least one midfielder. The vast majority of Man United fans do believe we need two central midfielders, because obviously we need to recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera. We also do need a striker, at least one striker, someone that can come in that can assure us goals, someone that, can, be more effective in the box, someone who can create more chances, because, for the vast majority of this season so far, we have been struggling to create chances, and that is an element of concern. And this probably, this explains why we haven't been scoring enough goals, and in that aspect, that does replicate last season, because last season, where we didn't score enough goals, but there's still some aspects of our game, that we definitely do need to improve on. But we do look very exposed now in that attacking line anywhere, following the departures of Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez. Obviously, Martial recovered from injury not too long ago, so at least now he's adding more inspiration in that attacking third of the pitch and that. But there is a lot of players on our agenda, who we could go in for next year. I do believe Solskjaer is keen on continuing the policy of recruiting young British players, like he did do during the course in the summer. I do probably believe Man United will spend a substantial amount of money next year. I think we'll probably spend from between 200 to 300 million pounds, because we do know that a massive rebuild is needed at the football club. And I did say, our recruitment has got to improve in the next couple of windows, because analysing, our recruitment, not only recently but for several years, it has been really poor. But I did say anyway, due to our inconsistency, it's going to be hard for us to get the right calibre players to Manchester United, next year. But with analysing our poor recruitment, the vast majority of the blame does stem from the board. And I did say anyway, due to our inconsistency, everybody is accountable. Some of the players reflect on their bad run of performances. Also, the board for me are mainly to blame. Solskjaer's obviously accountable for it, and I also think Ed Woodward is a liability, but the board anywhere have been a liability for several years, with their poor recruitment and their poor selection of managers and that. And the board didn't back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer enough, during the course in the summer, like they did actually assure, that they would have done. But I think we need to see a variety of changes at Manchester United. If this club wants to be back, to how it was, back under the Alex Ferguson era, I think Solskjaer needs to go. I don't think he's the right manager, to elevate Manchester United forward. I don't think the coaching staff are good enough here. I still think there's certain players at Manchester United that are not good enough to represent the football club. Despite the fact that a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, I still believe probably 4 or 5 players do need to go next year. And I do believe, Manchester United need to recommend a director of footballing, because I think, we need to recommend someone in who knows the traditions of the club, someone who would be reliable to oversee our transfer business, someone who's obviously, got the right philosophy, to bring the right calibre players into Manchester United. But during the summer, we was in for the director of football, and I said that's one of the structural changes that we do need to see at the football club. And there was a few former Man United players linked with that director's role during the summer. Also, there was speculation about Edwin van der Sar quite a few weeks ago, and a lot of Man United fans do believe he would be the right candidate for the football club. Solskjaer gave his overarching view regarding a new director of football, and he's actually happy with the club's current structure. So he actually insists that we don't really need a director of football and that. But obviously we are enjoying our worst start start to a Premier League season for 3 decades. So the last time we had as bad a start to a season as this was back in 1989, or was it 1990? We are sitting 10th in the league at the moment. We are just around 4 points above relegation. So you can quite frankly say at the moment, we are facing a relegation battle, and we are around 10 points behind top 4 and around 18 points behind Liverpool and that. So I've actually fully now disregarded that top 4. But like I did say at the start of this season, that our expectations this season, will be to finish in that top 4. So in that aspect, we can get back into the Champions League. But I think the only route for Manchester United of getting back into the Champions League is obviously through the Europa League, because if we do win this game this evening against Partizan Belgrade, we do qualify to knockouts of the competition, which is obviously really good and that. But I don't think Man United will get top 4 this season. But I'm actually surprised the current position we're in, because I did say at the start of this season, despite the free signings that we recommended in. I did expect Man United obviously to not win the league or mount any kind of title challenge up, but I did expect us to enjoy a better season this season than what we currently saw last season and that. But so we need to see further more investment in the squad and that. So like I said, Solskjaer is pessimistic about obviously signing players in January. But I think it's very, very probable, that we're going to sign Mario Mandzukic in January. I do actually presume that, he's going to be our first signing in January. He's going to be our 4th signing overall under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era, is Mario Mandzukic. That's if Solskjaer is still to be at the football club by January. I do believe that Solskjaer could still be here for this season, but I can definitely assure that he won't see out his three-year contract, because obviously when he got the job permanently back in March, Solskjaer had been given a 3-year contract and that. But I am very, very sceptical about him anywhere. But, he's a cheap solution, is Mario Mandzukic, and I'm aware that, he would dramatically improve Manchester United. He is a good replacement for Romelu Lukaku. Obviously, he isn't going to be a long-term replacement for Lukaku, obviously regarding his age, because he's now, 33 years of age, is Mario Mandzukic, and you can quite frankly say he's only got a year or 2 left in his footballing career and that. But I think Solskjaer, has got around 5 players on his agenda who he's interested in recommending to the football club next year. Of course, Mario Mandzukic is one of them. So I think Man United don't have to pay around £10 million for him. I think the club are willing to give him around an 18-month contract. So obviously we're not going to give him a long-term contract, obviously. It confirmed the other week that Mario Mandzukic had slashed his wage demands in half, from 300 grand a week to 150 grand a week, in order to make the move to Manchester United. But don't forget, we inquired about getting Mario Mandzukic towards the back end of the summer transfer window, but we didn't get him. But obviously now he's surplus to requirements at Juventus, because since the recommendation of Maurizio Sarri, obviously he hasn't played a single minute under his guidance, and now Mario Mandzukic is in his 5th season as a Juventus player. He has scored 44 goals in 162 appearances in all competitions for them. But he's actually a very, very good player, and he had more experience in our attacking than at least he can show the likes of Daniel James, Martial and Rashford and that, how to be more effective in the box and that. But I think anyway, Solskjaer is keen on, bringing, 2 forwards in and that. But yeah, it's looking very probable that Mario Mandzukic, will be coming in next year. Obviously, there's been a lot of talks about Moussa Dembele. He's also another player on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's agenda, and I think, he would be very reliable, would Moussa Dembele, and I think he would be the right calibre player for Manchester United, because he's a player that can lead the lines, he can score goals, Moussa Dembele, and I think if he came to Manchester United, he can replicate, what he's done with Lyon so far, what he did with Celtic and what he did with Fulham. And I think also the other beneficial thing is about recommending Moussa Dembele, and is that, he's played in the Premier League, because he actually, began his senior career with Fulham. Don't get me wrong, he probably cost us a substantial amount, where Will Moussa Dembele, but, he's another striker on our agenda, and he is only 23 years of age. We also inquired about getting him during the course of the summer, but it was tentatively linked to him. What I mean is, he wasn't one of our main priority targets. We also have got, Jadon Sancho still on our current agenda. Don't forget, we went in for Jadon Sancho during the course of the summer, but obviously, we didn't end up, getting him, and we actually identified him as our top priority back in the January transfer window. But our move got screwed for Jadon Sancho with our failure to qualify for the Champions League. Now, I think quite a few teams are attracting their interest in the player. I think Arsenal are interested, Liverpool are interested. From my perception, I just don't really see how he would, fit in Liverpool's system. I think he would fit in our system better. And I'd love him to come to Manchester United. And I am aware that he will cost the club a substantial amount. We'll probably have to pay in the excess of around £100 million for him. I think Jadon Sancho, he's uncertain, about his future, but I do believe that he will not orchestrate on spending the rest of his career with Borussia Dortmund. But Borussia Dortmund, got him from next to no. They only paid around £7 or £8 million for him from Man City. That's all they paid for him basically. And the beneficial thing is as well that he's had experience of playing in the Premier League. He had a couple of years with Man City, but he never really got assured first team opportunities at Man City, and this is the main factor reason why I left City to join Dortmund. But obviously, analyse his performances in the last couple of years with Dortmund. He's been there. Obviously, his valuation has persistently grown. He's under contract with Dortmund until 2022, and he is predominantly a right winger, but can also play centrally. So he's another player on our current agenda. Obviously, James Maddison. I think we're orchestrating on, trying to get the pursuit of him next year, because we are aware that, he will dramatically improve our midfield, and he will add depth in our midfield, will James Maddison, because, we need to address that midfield. That's the main area where I've got element of concerns, and I know that the likes of McTominay and Fred, in games this season, they have delivered the goods in that. McTominay's done really well this season, mainly. He has actually, been a first team regular, but analysing, McTominay and Fred and that, are not world-class midfielders. But if James Maddison came in, I think he'd do well, because he's proven in the Premier League. He's now into his second season with Leicester. Obviously, last season was his debut season with Leicester. Last season he created more chances than any other player did, James Maddison, in the Premier League. He's not only good at creating chances, he can score goals, he can provide assists and that. But very, very good, only 22. Still got a hell of a lot of development in him, predominantly in attacking midfielder, but can also be played on the left, because quite a few times under Brendan Rodgers' guidance, he has played on the left-hand side. But James Maddison has still got 4 years left on his current contract with Leicester. Leicester are aware of, our interest. I think Leicester are reluctant to offload him, so I think we'd have to pay a similar sort of figure to, to how we did, to what we did do, with Harry Maguire, because we paid £80 million for Harry Maguire from obviously, Leicester during the summer, and Leicester have lost quite a few of their imperative players in recent years. But I admire Brendan Rodgers. He has done a really, really good job. And, James Maddison won't spend the entirety of his career with Leicester. But I think if we're prepared to pay around £70-80 million for him next year, we've got a good chance of getting him. Leicester did pay around, £20 million for him last summer from Norwich. So he's another player on our current agenda, is James Maddison. But yeah. There's a lot of players on our current agenda, like I currently mentioned. I've got some news as well, regarding Daniel James. I want to give you guys an update on Ole Gunnar Solsjaker has confirmed he has concerns over Daniel James' fatigue at Manchester United. So reflecting on this, I think Ole Gunnar Solsjaker is actually not going to rest Daniel James, because Daniel James has been a consistent starter this season. I think he's played 18 games this season for club and country. He's played 15 times for Man United this season alone, and I think he's played around 895 minutes of Premier League football so far this season. But we've got to admire him. He's done really, really well. He's settled in really, really quick at Man United. He's enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. And, it was a cheap solution, basically. We only paid around 15 million. There was add-ons included, which did potentially, rise it to around 18 million pounds. Don't get me wrong, there's still some aspects of his game that he does need to improve on, and that you could say his crossing that needs to improve. Maybe his finishing needs to improve a bit, but I think prior to that, he's doing really, really well in that. But as he develops in that, some more aspects of his game, will dramatically improve. But you've just got to say he's still a prospect and he needs time to develop and that. But yes, I think he will be rested for the game this evening against Partizan Belgrade. Like I said, you saw my preview, didn't you? I think it was yesterday or the day before, and that, for the Partizan Belgrade game this evening, 8 o'clock kickoff at Old Trafford. And I actually am really looking forward to the game. Obviously, so far, we've won 2 games out of 3 in the Europa League. We've registered 7 points from possible 9. Obviously, we won the reverse fixture against Partizan Belgrade by 1 goal to 0. Obviously, it was an Anthony Martial penalty that had won us that game. Martial wasn't so effective in that game, particularly in the first half, and it wasn't the best of performances from Man United, but we still got the win. But I thought there were some good individual performances in the reverse fixture. Like I said, I thought Brandon Williams did really, really well. I think he'll keep earning more first team promotions, reflecting on his impressive performances. And he's only 19 years of age, and a lot of people now do believe he's a better solution than Luke Shaw. I thought James Garner did very, very well on his in the game. That he obviously made his full debut in the reverse fixture, and that I haven't really got a perception yet on James Garner because I haven't really seen him play enough for me to have a perception on him and that. But I said, this evening Solskjaer will make a lot of alterations in the squad. Obviously, he'll see this competition just like the Carabao Cup, and that has more of a chance, to give the youngsters, more opportunities and obviously, more experience. Obviously, I interpreted, some of the stuff that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had mentioned, during his press conference, yesterday, building up to the game and that. He has confirmed as Solskjaer that, Lindelof will not be available this evening. Don't forget, Lindelof had sustained a knock in the 2-1 win against Chelsea in the Carabao Cup, so he will not be playing. I think it did confirm that we've got 6 players, 6 players yesterday morning were absent from training. So Lindelof was, Angel Gomez is out, Tuan Zebe is out, Luke Shaw's still out, Matic is out. It's very unlikely that Diego Dalot, will be playing this evening. But Solskjaer did recently confirm that Tuan Zebe, Shaw and Matic all should be back after the international break. With Paul Pogba, Solskjaer's confirmed, as you all know, he's out until December with an ankle injury. This ongoing ankle injury has been surrounding Pogba for a matter of weeks now. Solskjaer did indicate out there was a slight chance, that he could be back, for the Sheffield United game after the international break, but it's actually now very, very unlikely. So we're not expected to see Pogba back until December. And Paul Pogba has been a big miss in that midfield. I've got to be quite honest with you. But obviously, reflects on the amount of injuries that Man United have had this season anywhere. Solskjaer has had to make alterations in his squad. It's going to be interesting to see how he approaches this game, what formation that he goes with. Recently, Solskjaer's reverted back to that 4-2-3-1 formation. And obviously, we do know that 4-2-3-1 formation, hasn't been working because he's been going with that 4-2-3-1 formation for, the majority of the games this season. But I actually, from my perception, I think we looked better with 3 at the back because obviously, in that 4-game period, we mainly went with 3 at the back and we looked so much better. The momentum was building, there was more confidence in the players, and we just seemed to suit that system and that. And I give credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in that 4-game period because I thought we showed a lot of tactical flexibility, and there was a variety of changes in that 4-game period I saw. We also was winning games away from home. We won 3 away from home on the trot. But for the vast majority of this season anyway, I've been criticising Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tactics, because he has been tactically naive for the majority of this season. Also, some of his substitutions have been questionable. These question marks around him, why is he playing Ashley Young on a regular basis? I'm not too sure because, quite frankly, Ashley Young has passed his sell-by date anywhere at the football club. He is now 34, he is 35 next year, and now Ashley Young is into his 9th season as a Man United player, but he, of course, has been here 8 years. But obviously, the Solskjaer, I do presume now, will be back under intense pressure following the 1-0 defeat to Bournemouth last weekend. Obviously, that's our 4th defeat of the Premier League season, as you all know. And it was actually abysmal performance against Bournemouth. The performance was totally comparison to what I saw against Chelsea in the Carabao Cup and Norwich in the league. I've got to analyse it. I thought Norwich was our best performance of the season so far. We did really, really well in that game, created a lot of chances, also scored 3 good goals. I also thought, the Liverpool game, was a really, really good performance. We got a draw out of them. We're the only team so far in the Premier League this season, to take many points from Liverpool and that. And I thought in that 4-game period, that, we was obviously, on the comeback, but obviously now, we are back to square one. But like I said, it'll be interesting to see how he approaches this game tonight. Also, Ashley Young, I interpreted some of the stuff yesterday that Ashley Young had mentioned, during, throughout the press conference and that. Ashley Young, he's still praising Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and he's actually, backing Solskjaer all the way. Ashley Young came out with a few interesting quotes, and he actually said, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but he said he was comparing Ferguson and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So what he believes that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has revived Alex Ferguson's spirit at Manchester United. This is from his own perception, and he thinks the defeat against Bournemouth obviously hasn't had a bad effect on the confidence in the players, and he basically said that Young said that it won't dampen the spirits, basically, reflecting on the 1-0 defeat to Bournemouth. So Young come out with a few interesting quotes. But yeah, it is an 8 o'clock kickoff tonight. I said I will do my match reaction. It probably will be tomorrow. Will my match reaction, because I won't have time to do it this evening. After the game, of course. But hopefully, we can win that. But obviously, we know that the Premier League is more imperative than out. But yeah, and But like I said, I've been impressed with recent players recently. Like I said, I think Rashford stepped up to the plate recently. He's actually done really, really well as Rashford. He's rejuvenated himself, and I do know for the majority of this season, I have been criticising Marcus Rashford because he hasn't performed to the standards as we should expect for him and that. But recently he has rejuvenated himself. He started scoring goals. He scored 52 goals for the football club in all competitions since he broke into the senior squad in 2016, but Rashford is still a long-term solution for Man United. Martial, he's regained form, since he recovered from injury, but he actually enjoyed a good start this season, did Martial, obviously, before he had sustained that thigh injury. So I have been very, very impressed with him. I said he's more effective in that central position because obviously at the start of the season, Anthony Martial had been given that number 9 shirt. So very, very impressed with him, like I said, and he's only 23 years of age. Comparing Martial and Rashford, they actually are compatible in some aspects. Obviously they score the same amount of goals at the moment. They also can play in the same positions in that. Rashford's just turned 22. Martial is obviously now 23. So that's obviously Martial's only just a bit older than Rashford in that. But I do still believe that they can both emulate into world-class players for Manchester United. And I know some Man United fans, do believe that Marcus Rashford is overrated. But I've been very, very impressive recently. Like I did say regarding Fred, he's done well recently. But we know Fred and McTominay obviously are world-class midfielders for Manchester United. That's my concern. And I don't know if they are the long-term solutions for the football club. But to be fair, I think, they've done well this season. Obviously, Solskjaer confirmed that Fred will take Paul Popper's position for them a while. And like I said, anyway, we've got a lot of young players in the squad that are developing and trying to improve Man United. And like I recently mentioned, I have got some element of concerns about certain young upcoming players. I don't think obviously all of them are going to become a fruition. So this is why I did say it would be beneficial for us to orchestrate on loaning some of them out in January, or maybe even getting rid of them permanent. But I can definitely assure that Mason Greenwood, Brandon Williams and Tuan Zebe, they will all become successes at Manchester United. I can definitely assure that. So there's a lot of and like I said to you, there's some aspects of me, that do credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's got a lot, of trustworthy in his young upcoming players, because the vast majority of the young upcoming players have been given their chances this season. So he has got a lot of trustworthy in them. He did recommend 3 good players to the squad during the summer. We spent a substantial amount during the summer. We spent nearly £150 million on 3 players, and they've obviously done really, really well. But, I've also, got some element of concerns about Solskjaer. For me, he just doesn't have any intuition on how to manage a big football club like Manchester United. He doesn't have an intuition at all, despite the fact that he knows the traditions of the football club. And, he just isn't good enough, to be a manager, because obviously before he was at Man United, he was at Mould. He won a couple of Norwegian titles for Mould. And obviously, before he was at Mould, he was at Cardiff. And he obviously, enjoyed a really short tenure with Cardiff. And he actually ended up getting Cardiff relegated. And this is the reason why he did get the sack. And certain Man United fans fear that if he used to stay at Manchester United for this season, he could replicate at Man United what he actually did do with Cardiff. But I don't think we'll get relegated anywhere. The club's too big, and there's too much money and that into the football club. We haven't been relegated since 1974. As I did give you guys my update yesterday. Obviously, Ed Woodward has given the sack verdict on Solskjaer, and Ed Woodward has assured that his job is safe at Manchester United. So I think Man United are willing to back him in the next couple of windows. Because I think the only reason we're sticking with Solskjaer at this present time is anywhere. Is because obviously he was a club legend and that, and he was a great long-serving player for Manchester United for 11 years, and he flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance. But I think disregarding being a club legend and that, and if it had been any other manager, then probably you could say he would have been sacked, because we know now in this generation, managers don't get the time that they would like and that. And like I did say to you, I think we've made several mistakes in the last 6 or 7 years, and I think one of the mistakes definitely was giving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job. I think we're giving it too soon. We should have waited at some point until the end of last season, or we should have waited at some point until this season to decide or not, whether he would be the right candidate for Man United. But, Solskjaer hasn't had a long tenure yet. He's only been at the club overall, around 11 months. So he's been at the football club just under a year as Solskjaer. Obviously, he's been permanent manager for around 8 months or so, and you can obviously say for the vast majority of that 8 months, everything has gone downhill. Obviously, he's been totally comparison to what I saw when Solskjaer was the interim manager, because in that 3-month period when Solskjaer was the interim manager, my perceptions were obviously different on him, because I thought in that 3-month period he was the right man to elevate Manchester United forward. But in that 3-month period he did well. The results were good, the performances were good, and he exceeded expectations and that. He won his first 8 games. He won 14 out of 19 in total and that. And I saw glimpses of the Ferguson era throughout that 3-month period, but it's all gone wrong, since he has got the job permanently and that. But for me, my own perception on it, I just think the expectations are too high for him at the football club. And I know some Man United fans believe that us getting rid of Solskjaer now, or getting rid of him just before Christmas anyway, wouldn't solve a lot of problems at the football club, because due to our inconsistency, you can't just put all the blame on the manager. Like I've said on my videos before, it's a mixture, so basically everyone is accountable, because I don't like the way the football club's been run anywhere in the last 6 or 7 years, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But yeah, with Andres Pereira, I was impressed in the last couple of games before the Bournemouth game, because I thought he was stepping up to the plate. But then he went and had his show. His performance was really, really bad in the 1-0 defeat to Bournemouth. So I was very, very disappointed with his current performance and that. But analysing our squad, I think it's a pretty decent squad. It's definitely obviously not good enough to win the league as yet. But, if we are to be future title contenders, we have got to get the right calibre of players to Manchester United, next year. That's very, very imperative. But I said anyway, our aspirations will be that top 4 in the next couple of seasons, definitely. But actually, analysing the vast majority of this team, it isn't Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. The vast majority of this team is Jose Mourinho's, because obviously Jose Mourinho recommended 11 players into the football club. Now Solskjaer's still inheriting the vast majority. Solskjaer's inheriting the vast majority of them. There's still players here from the Louis van Gaal era that Solskjaer is inheriting. There's still Matty from the Moyes era. There's still actually, a couple of players here from the Alex Ferguson era and that. So Solskjaer can still say he's still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team without a shadow of a doubt. But like I said, and I've updated you regularly, recently that is, there's obviously, a variety of managers on our agenda, who could replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now at the football club. Now, I think, as far as I'm aware at the moment, there's around 3, maybe even 4 managers on our agenda, who could replace him. Obviously, there's been a lot of speculation recently about Max Allegri. He's actually, linked with quite a few jobs. He's Max Allegri. He's linked with a job at Man United. He's linked with the Bayern Munich job. Obviously, the Bayern Munich job now is vacant because obviously, recently Niko Kovac had been sacked from Bayern Munich. Obviously, reflects on their 5-1 defeat to Frankfurt. He's been linked with the Arsenal job because obviously Arsenal are very, very unhappy, with Unai Emery. I think some Arsenal fans actually preferred Arsene Wenger. So he's under intense pressure at Arsenal, just like Solskjaer is at Man United. You've also got Pochettino that's under pressure at Tottenham. But do you think Max Allegri would be the right man to take the reins at Manchester United? Obviously, he's recently been studying English, obviously to get to know about it more, in case he does get, in case he does take over a job in the English Premier League. Max Allegri obviously hasn't been manager for that long. He stepped down as Juventus manager at the end of last season. And he had a 5-year tenure with Juventus. Obviously won the vast majority of his silverware there. He also progressed Juventus to Champions League finals and that. He said quite a few weeks ago he was our primary candidate, to replace Solskjaer. Obviously, if Max Allegri, does come in, he will be our 5th permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. But the question is, do you think he's got the managerial credentials to succeed at Man United? Do you think he would be the right man to bring, do you think he'd be the right man to have the right philosophy for the club so we can obviously, bring, the right players to Manchester United and that? But yeah, there's been a lot of talks about him going on. Obviously, so far he spent the entirety of his managerial career in Italy in the Serie A. He also spent the entirety of his playing career in Italy, but he actually has emulated himself up over the years because he started, playing for small various Italian clubs. Then obviously during his managerial career, he started managing various Italian clubs, and obviously, like I've just said, emulated himself up. But I think he began managing in 2003, so he's been managing now for around 16 years, or just a bit longer than 16 years. So yeah, there's been a hell of a lot of talks about him. So I still believe that Pochettino is on our agenda now. Obviously, we went in for Pochettino. After the sacking of Jose Mourinho, if you do remember rightly. But obviously at the time we did go in for him. Pochettino was reluctant to leave Tottenham, and like I've added into the equation quite a few times, Daniel Levy, is a hard negotiator, as I think you are all aware of. A lot of Man United fans and maybe some pundits, do believe that Pochettino would be the right candidate for Man United, because he's good at developing young players. He's well Premier League proven in that. And the only element of concern about Pochettino is that, he hasn't run out in terms of silverware. I do believe we'd have if we had to get him in, we'd have to pay around £32 million in compensation, to recommend Pochettino to the football club. He has got a 5-year contract with Tottenham that he signed, I think, in the summer of 2018, worth around £8.5 million a year. But he's been at Tottenham 5 years. He's into his 6th season now with them. But, I think he's had 5 good years, with Tottenham as Pochettino. Before he was at Tottenham, he enjoyed a good time with Southampton. Obviously, began his managerial career with Espanyol, did Mauricio Pochettino. And we also was in for Zinedine Zidane, don't forget, after the sacking of Jose Mourinho. But obviously our preference was just Solskjaer, because the way we saw it, Solskjaer knows the culture of the club. Obviously, he was a cheaper solution. So we'll also, take that into account. Tony Cascarino came out recently and he thought that Chris Wilder would be the right solution for Manchester United or Arsenal, because obviously he's been analysing what he's been doing at Sheffield United, and so have I, and I admire for what he's done for Sheffield United. Took over Sheffield United in 2016. He's progressed them from League 1 to 6 in the Premier League and that. So some people believe, he would be the right candidate. So there's actually, quite a lot of managers on our current agenda in that. You know, there's quite a lot of managers on our current agenda in that, and but like I said, I think, the problematic players at Manchester United, I'm going to, say now, Young's one of the problematic players. Bay, I think actually, Bay is a very, very imperative player, to be quite honest with you, but obviously, affecting on the amount of injuries he's sustained at Manchester United, I think it's had a bad effect on his Man United career and that, and, due to that, I think Man United could consider moving him on at some point next year, or maybe sometime in the future, but we won't see him in action until the end of the year. We've got I think Rojo, another problematic player, and that could actually be involved there this evening. Could Rojo, because these are the types of games where he will get, given more opportunities. I think, we've prevented him from leaving the club in January. We are going to prevent him from leaving the club in January, because I was surprised that Rojo didn't leave in the summer, because there was quite a few teams in for him. Everton had inquired about getting him on deadline day. We demanded around £25 million, but obviously Man United and Everton couldn't come to an agreement on that actual fee. Maybe Everton could reignite their interest next year. You never know. But Rojo's versatility, is actually really, really good. So I will credit him for that. We have seen glimpses of how good, he can be. And I think he's got around, is it 2 or just under 2 years left on his contract with Man United. Jones, another problematic player at the club. Again, I think that was another mistake for Man United, giving Phil Jones a new long-term contract last season. Jones... he's now into his 9th season as a Man United player, so he has been here in 8 years. He's been here more or less the same amount of time as how long Ashley Young has been here and that. But I've got a lot of element of concerns about Jones, and just for me, he's not good enough to represent Man United in that. We did get rid of one centre half during the summer, and that was obviously Chris Smalling. And that he had to go, did Smalling anywhere. But I think comparing Smalling and Jones, I think Smalling's a much better centre half than Phil Jones. Smalling obviously served 9 years at Manchester United, so he did actually nearly serve a decade at the football club. But yeah, he needs to go. Matic, like I said, he's another problematic player. And I did say, even though we haven't addressed that midfield at the moment, I did say any of our midfielders at this present time are much better solutions than Matic. Some Man United fans may disagree with me on that, but Matic is getting too old. He's 31. He isn't getting any younger. He's too easy predictable. He's too slow, and he makes that midfielder look totally imbalanced. And I've got a lot of element of concerns about him, and due to his inconsistency, this is the explanation why he has initially lost his players in the team and that. So I think we need to obviously consider getting rid of him next year. So he's still actually Deadwood at the football club. But reflecting on the size and potential of this club, and reflects on the amount of money that's been invested into the football club, we should be in much more of a commanding position than we're in now. A lot of money's been spent at Manchester United over the years, in all the managerial eras since the Ferguson era. We've also got players on big contracts, and Solsjaker is now our 4th permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. And like I did mention, we don't want to keep sacking managers, because we haven't got the structure to keep sacking managers, despite the fact we've already sacked 3 managers since the Alex Ferguson era. Obviously Moyes left after 10 months. He had a really short tenure with the football club. Obviously, Louis van Gaal left after just a year and a half. Was it less than a year and a half? He got sacked despite the fact he won the FA Cup. And obviously, Mourinho, and he got sacked after he enjoyed a 2.5-year tenure at the club, despite the fact he won the Europa League and League Cup in his first season with Manchester United and that. But yeah, you've got, like I said, the vast majority of Man United fans now demanding Solskjaer out, because prior to the 3 months when he was the interim manager, I've seen no improvements whatsoever under Solskjaer than what I saw under Mourinho, Van Gaal, and of course David Moyes. So like I said, may do another video soon. My match reaction will be coming up for tomorrow. Tomorrow, obviously, to give me a reaction with the Partizan Belgrade game. Like I said, Solsjaker will rest key players anywhere for this game against Partizan Belgrade, because obviously Brighton of Albion is on the horizon. That's on Sunday, 2 o'clock. Then it's the international break, and then after that we do go to Sheffield United away in that. But I think after the international break, I think some more players, would have regained full fitness. So we'll see more players recover, from injury, which is obviously not very, very good. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider a subscribe, as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.